I have been using and testing the CurrentBody Series 2 LED mask for over 8 weeks. Here's what happened. The next 10 minutes or so, I'm going to cover 5 things that I think are going to help you figure out whether to buy this, invest in this, or try something else. There is in-depth information here, but it really goes in depth back on the scorecard post on the Style Shaker. If you want to check that out, you can see things like my current skincare routine, kept it very similar throughout the entire test. I really didn't want anything to change except for the masks so we could get a good read before and after. And of course, the products that I would recommend instead of this if you are still shopping around. FYI, this is an honest review. This product was gifted to me by the brand. I was under zero obligation to review it here. I've been reviewing products very honestly, sometimes brutally honestly, on this channel for 10 years. First up, you can see what's inside, of course, back on their website, but I just wanted to call out a couple of key things here. I have tried, I don't have the full reviews up, but this is their Series 1 mask. It's flat. A lot of the different masks out there are sort of this wraparound shape. The higher dose is another one that I have. I have Juve's. I have a lot of red light masks, but it needs to take time to give you the best possible review. A lot of these are a similar wraparound shape, right? So one of the key differences in what you're getting with the CurrentBody that I really liked a lot, because I didn't realize the comfort level was going to be so different, but it is a flexible silicone that fits right onto your face. It's supposed to be universal, so I don't know if it's going to work for everybody, but it's supposed to. It flexes to the face, and you have the back strap, and then that sounds weird, but you know what I mean. You have the head strap and then the strap on top, which does lift it. For some reason, it's just way more comfortable than the other ones I've tried. The Juve's is a little bit different. I'll talk about that in another video, but I have no problem breathing. The other thing that I really liked here, structurally speaking, this nose, some of them split. For instance, the higher dose has a split in the center. I think their first series one does, yeah. This one has a split in the center. So you're getting a little bit more coverage here. There's 236 LED bulbs in this mask right here. It also has the clip-on controller, very easy to work with, and you can charge it. I recommend just putting it into your routine somewhere because that's the only way that I kept up with it. It's very enjoyable. I do it in the morning as opposed to the evening, but I know a lot of people like to do it at night. This uses 3 wavelengths. It uses red light, near infrared, and deep near infrared. It's really supposed to be more precise at hitting all the points on the face. Also want to mention, there are contraindications involved in this. Please look at the brand's website. They talk about people who have cataracts should not use this. People who are pregnant or breastfeeding. It hasn't been tested on that. So definitely look at that before you dive in. I'm not going to dive deep into the science and technical parts of it. There's a lot of information on LED masks out there. You can find that in a lot of places on the web from people who are dermatologists, experts in the field, things like that. Now, does that matter if I don't see any results? Absolutely not. How easy is this to use? It got a 5 out of 5. It's really easy. I'll show you. I have cleansed skin usually. I'm not wearing any makeup, but I just pop this on. I do start with a sensitivity test, but first let me put this on. I can't really talk that well with it on. Like that. Like that. And then you just hold the button down. And we're in business. I have sensitive skin, so I needed to do a sensitivity test. I always recommend that. I was fine. And then I started using it 3 times a week. After 2 weeks of that with no irritation, it doesn't get hot, by the way. I moved it up to every day. The brand recommends 3 to 5 times a week. I just did every day because I actually really enjoy this. Enjoying it is key. If you don't, you're not going to be consistent. If you're not consistent, this is basically just going to be like a fun piece of something sitting on your desk doing nothing for you. So you have to be consistent with it. I feel like you guys already probably know that. Also, it's very easy to travel with. I brought it with me on my trip. It's very lightweight and it comes with a little carrying case too. I don't have that up here. It's downstairs because I usually do this right before I do my power plate, the vibration plate, which I am also testing. So I look like one of those crazy wellness people. I really am not. I swear to you, I'm not, but I just test these products. We're going to get into results. So, fine line results. How did this do with my fine lines? I do have before and after pictures for you. I also talk about my testing rules, I guess. I take them at the same time of day. They are not retouched. They are high res. They're in natural light. I've tried to really refine my process. The only thing that's a little bit wonky is I don't have a tripod set up for 8 weeks where I take the pictures because I keep hitting it. Like I keep knocking it. So the angle might be a millimeter off, but I try really hard to get the good before and after for you in a high resolution. When I started this 2 weeks in, I really didn't see much of a change in fine lines. I didn't see much of a change in a lot. So I know 2 weeks isn't going to give me that. By 4, 6 weeks or so, that's when I started hearing other people being like, hey, your skin looks a little bit different. So it took a long time for me to see most of the results. For fine lines, here's what I saw. The 11s on I'm 45, by the way. It's kind of weird to say that. I don't feel 45, but I don't know if anybody really knows how that. Anyway, the 11s I have this is decent lighting, but again, you'll see it in the natural light to get a better sense of things. So I have those. Those were subtly diminished. The appearance of those were subtly diminished. The thing I didn't realize until I looked at the before and afters, because I was like, I don't think this is doing it. Like, man, I dedicated 8 weeks to this and I'm not sure. That's why I highly recommend you take before and after pictures because you really just don't know. You do not know. So the thing that I noticed the most was there's this little line here, and it's usually very prominent. Now, please know that I am the kind of person who believes in the holistic approach, yada, yada, yada. I know, I roll. But the truth is, if I'm not hitting the fundamentals of sleep, the lifestyle fundamentals, hydration, and not eating crap all the time, I eat it sometimes. I'm a human being. If I'm not hitting those, I'm not expecting this mask to do much for me. This usually happened. I thought this line here was a dehydration situation, an aging thing, fine. I think aging is a privilege. I'm not into anti-aging. That's the only time you'll hear me say that phrase in this video. At the end of this test, I looked and it's very subtle. This, for some reason, is very minimized, diminished. The appearance of it is diminished. I'm not saying they removed a wrinkle or a line or a fine line. I'm just saying that was very noticeable for me in terms of forehead change. Not so much here. Like I still get like my little lines here. Yeah, you can see like the expression lines and stuff. That's fine. That's okay. Then we'll talk about, so right here, sides of the eyes. I don't have a ton of crow's feet at this moment. I can see them, but I try and prevent that with a lot of eye creams and stuff like that. I did see a slight diminishing of the lines that are right here, the fine lines. I would say it was more of a softening. And again, I'm not sure if that was collagen production or whatever. Maybe it was the plumping from that, but I saw it. And then the last spot that I want to talk about is actually not lines. I just put it in this section. So I noticed something else, and I saw this in some of the reviews. People were talking about oil production changed a little bit for them. So I tested this fall, winter, and that's when, drier air, harsher air. I'm really focused on the skin barrier being okay. I noticed that the pores right here, which is where I tend to get more texture, more congested in terms of like what the pores and the actual skin looks like, they looked a little bit smaller. So I haven't used any toners. I'm not using any astringents or anything like that. This is the only change that I made. Dietary shifts not happening. Drank the same amount of water. The only thing was I got kind of sick at one point, but that would make it look worse. So this minimized a little bit around there. For fine line results, I gave it a 3 out of 5. It wasn't like knocking my socks off, but I did see a difference. It just takes time. For plumping, if you couldn't already tell, it was there, but it was very like I'm reaching for it. I saw plumping that may have led to the diminishing of some of the fine lines I just talked about, but it was not the standout quality for me. Still, I can't say that I didn't see some firmness in places, but we're not talking like super duper overnight wow, I'm a different face, right? So it was in the middle of the road. I gave it a 3 out of 5 because I think it kind of goes in conjunction with the diminished lines that I saw, or the diminished appearance of lines. I like to maintain that phrase because it's not like the lines go away. This is not Botox. Finally, and this was the most exciting for me, the overall complexion. This was not one of the brand claims for this little mask. This was not a claim on there. My overall complexion, this was one of the quickest changes that I noticed. So when I first started using it daily, if I would wake up in the morning, my skin tends to get red, ruddy. It can happen when I have processed sugars or stuff like that. Sometimes it can happen, just can happen. It can happen. I do gua sha, that kind of makes it more red a little bit, brings blood to the surface. But I would use this, and afterwards, it would always look calm. It wouldn't eliminate the redness, but it always looked kind of calm. And I call it my peachy skin. My skin gets a little peachy, it gets a little happy. That was really fast. That happened out of the gate. And I think that that only compounded over time. I have noticed that my skin tone has definitely changed, like the overall complexion and evening out of my complexion. There's still redness, depends on what I'm eating, doing during the day, the night before, whatever, but it really has improved for me. I would say that was the best improvement on my skin, along with like this little thing kind of hiding away again. That was really cool. But I gave it a 5 out of 5 for overall complexion results. That's where I went wow in the beginning. It kept me motivated, which is important. And so I stayed motivated and continued using the mask. And I feel like that just continues to compound. So it's a 15 out of 20 for the total score for this LED mask. There are tons of other masks out there. I've got a lot of work to do, is what I'm saying. I'm also really curious about how this mask compares to the panels. Theoretically feel like it's more bang for my buck, but I'm not there yet. I have to test it and show the before and after. I do have a promo code at the time of recording. Sometimes they last, sometimes they don't. So if you ask me where the promo code went, it may have gone. It has proven to me that red light therapy works for my skin very well in this capacity, and I am keeping it in my routine. I am not letting it go. I also really like using it, so that's a very easy thing for me to say and do. If you've tried this mask, if you have an LED mask that I need to know about and try, let me know in the comments. I really like having other perspectives here. If you did find this helpful, again, give it a thumbs up. 8 weeks went into this review. I hope it helped you make a better decision. That's the whole point. If you want to see the other products I would recommend instead of this, and my current skincare routine, it's all on the Style Shaker. I will see you right back here real soon. Until then,